Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are looking ahead to the future, to March 5th, 2025 to be exact,
Mhm.
and we're going to try to figure out what the future holds for XRP. We've got this really in-depth Spanish analysis called Análisis Financiero y Estratégico de XRP, Ripple, and it's going to be our guide as we dive into the fundamentals of XRP, price projections, and of course the challenges it might face.
Yeah, sounds good.
So by the end of this, you'll have a much better idea of whether XRP is something you want to invest in or maybe just observe from a safe distance.
I think that's a great way to put it. Our goal here is to really equip you with the knowledge you need to make informed decisions.
Absolutely. So let's start with the basics. What is it that makes XRP valuable in this crazy world of crypto?
Well, you've got some cryptocurrencies out there that are trying to be like digital gold or maybe power decentralized applications, but XRP, it had a very specific purpose right from the start. It was designed to make international payments smoother.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a supercharged version of the SWIFT system, but on the blockchain.
Yeah, you could say that, but what's really fascinating is that XRP can process those transactions in the blink of an eye. We're talking 3 to 5 seconds, and with super low fees, like fractions of a cent per transaction.
Wow, that's impressive, especially when you compare it to those traditional systems that can take days and cost a fortune.
Right, and in a world that's becoming more and more global, that speed and efficiency are really valuable.
I'm starting to see the appeal,
Yeah.
but speed and low cost are just one part of the story, right? How is XRP actually being used in the real world, especially as we look ahead to 2025?
This analysis suggests a couple of exciting developments. First, imagine businesses, especially those dealing with international payments, switching from that old SWIFT system to XRP. Think about all the time and money they could save.
Yeah, that would be huge. And it's not just businesses, right? Think about sending money to family overseas. No more waiting days or paying those outrageous fees.
Exactly. That's a real game changer, especially for folks who depend on remittances. And there's more. XRP isn't just about payments anymore. This analysis talks about native programmability, which means XRP is expanding its capabilities. Imagine smart contracts, DeFi, even tokenizing real-world assets all on XRP.
EFI on XRP. That's a new one for me.
Hmm?
Can you explain that a bit more? Not quite seeing how payments connect to things like lending or borrowing.
It's about opening up more possibilities. Think of a world where you can instantly send money, and use that same platform to borrow, lend, even trade. That's the power of DeFi. And with XRP's speed and low cost, it could become a major player in this space.
Okay, that's painting a much bigger picture. But you know how it goes. If it sounds too good to be true, what are some of the challenges that XRP might bump into in 2025?
It's always good to be cautious. No investment is risk-free, and XRP definitely has its share. Let's talk about the big one, the legal battle with the SEC.
Oh yeah, that whole is it a security or not debate. That's been going on for a while now, hasn't it?
It has, and it's something investors need to keep in mind. Even though a court said in 2023 that XRP isn't a security when it's sold to regular investors, the SEC is appealing that decision. So this legal battle, it's probably going to keep casting a shadow over XRP, at least for a while.
So we're kind of in a waiting game to see how that all shakes out. What other challenges are out there?
Well, there's always competition. Stable coins like Tether and USDC are trying to dominate payments, and then there's Stellar, another crypto focused on cross-border transactions. XRP needs to stand out in a crowded market.
That sounds like a tough battle, especially against those big stable coins and well-established players.
You're not wrong, but remember, David beat Goliath. XRP does have some advantages that might help it carve out its own space.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What are those advantages? What sets XRP apart?
For one, they've been busy forming partnerships with major financial institutions. This analysis mentions over 300 partnerships with companies like Santander and Standard Chartered.
That's quite a network of support.
Yeah.
So they're playing the long game, building relationships within the traditional financial system. But are these institutions actually using XRP? That's the real question, right?
It is a crucial question. This analysis suggests that adoption has been slow and steady, but steady nonetheless. Now imagine this. What if a major economy like, say, Brazil, approves an XRP spot ETF?
An XRP ETF in Brazil? Well, that would be huge. It would open up XRP to all sorts of institutional investors, wouldn't it?
Exactly, and that kind of institutional adoption could snowball, leading to more demand and liquidity for XRP. It's hypothetical, but it shows just how much potential for growth there is.
So we've got these solid fundamentals, a growing network of partners, and the possibility of a game changer, like an ETF approval. But let's be real. Even in this optimistic 2025 scenario, we still have that SEC appeal hanging over our heads. How might that impact XRP, even if things are looking up on the adoption side?
That's the key question, right? This analysis explores a couple of what-if scenarios related to the SEC. One is a shift in the regulatory landscape. Maybe there's a new administration that's more friendly towards cryptocurrencies. Imagine the SEC clarifying its stance on XRP, or even better, approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, which could set a precedent for other crypto assets.
So a change in regulations could really tilt the scales in XRP's favor. It could ease the worries of those institutional investors who might be on the fence because of the legal uncertainty.
You got it. And here's another what-if scenario. Imagine former President Trump makes a comeback in 2024. And out of the blue, he decides to include XRP in a U.S. strategic crypto reserve.
Okay, that one's a bit out there. But in the world of crypto, anything is possible, right?
True. The point is that even unlikely events could have a major impact on XRP. We're dealing with a market that's constantly shifting and can be unpredictable.
So it's a complex puzzle with fundamentals, regulations, and potential surprises. We've laid the groundwork, but I'm eager to dive into the numbers. What's XRP's valuation looking like in this 2025 scenario?
According to this analysis, XRP is trading around $2.52, with a market cap of $146 billion. That puts it right up there among the top 3 or 4 cryptocurrencies.
Wow, that's a really impressive valuation. But I imagine a lot hinges on those institutional investors we were discussing. Are they buying into this vision of XRP as a global payment solution, even with all the regulatory question marks?
You're spot on. The big question is whether those big investors will embrace XRP despite the potential risks. And to figure that out, we need to take a closer look at the technical analysis.
All right, let's get technical then. What does the price chart tell us about where XRP might be headed in March 2025? Maybe we could find some clues about what the future holds. All right, so we've talked about the big picture, but now I want to zoom in on those charts. What's the technical outlook for XRP in March 2025, according to this analysis?
It's painting a pretty interesting picture. Imagine this. December 2024 rolls around and XRP is hanging out around $1.90.
Okay.
And then good news about adoption starts coming in, and the crypto market is looking pretty bullish overall. And XRP starts climbing steadily. By March 2025, it hits $2.52.
So a nice gradual upward trend. But what about those support and resistance levels? Where are the key battlegrounds for the bulls and the bears?
There are a few important levels to watch. On the downside, we've got that $2 at $2.10 range. It's been a support zone before, a kind of safety net where buyers tend to step in.
Got it. So if XRP dips below $2, that might be a good buying opportunity for those who are feeling bullish long term. What are resistance? Where are the potential ceilings?
2 big ones. The first is $2.80, a recent high that XRP needs to break through to show us that upward momentum is really strong. And then there's the big kahuna, the psychological barrier at $3.50 to $3.84. That was XRP's all-time high back in 2018.
Bro.
Breaking through that would be a huge victory for the bulls.
It's like a classic climb the ladder scenario. But how can we tell how strong that upward momentum really is? What do those technical indicators tell us? You know, the ones that make those charts look like abstract art.
Well, the RSI, or Relative Strength Index, can give us some insight. It's like a speedometer for price momentum.
I like that.
And in this scenario, it's sitting at 58, which is a good sign. It means XRP is moving up with decent momentum, but it's not in overbought territory yet.
Okay, so it's a healthy, bullish signal. Not too hot, not too cold. What are those moving averages? Are they telling us a similar story?
Yep, they are. The shorter-term moving average is above the longer-term moving average, which is usually seen as a bullish signal. It suggests that the overall trend is in favor of the bulls.
2 thumbs up for the bulls so far. But are there any warning signs? Anything that suggests we might see a pullback?
Bollinger Bands can give us some clues about that. They measure price volatility, and right now the upper band is at $2.90, indicating a possible near-term ceiling for XRP's price. If it hits that level and can't break through, we might see a correction.
So it's like a tug of war between the bulls and bears around that $2.90 mark. What about trading volume? Does that give us any hints?
Volume is super important. It's the fuel that drives those price movements. And in this scenario, we're seeing a big jump in daily volume, reaching $9.7 billion.
Wow.
That surge supports the current bullish momentum, but if volume starts drying up, it could be a sign that sentiment is shifting.
Makes sense. So we got to keep an eye on volume as a potential indicator of a trend reversal. So based on all these technical clues, what's the most likely scenario for XRP in the short term?
Well, this analysis lays out 2 possible paths. One, If XRP breaks through that $2.80 resistance level with strong volume,
Oh,
we could see it surge towards $3.50 within a few weeks. That would be a big move,
right.
signaling a breakout from the previous range.
That would definitely get the XRP fans excited. But what if it hits that ceiling and can't break through?
If it gets rejected at $2.80, we could see a pullback to that $2.20 to $2.30 support zone we discussed earlier. It wouldn't necessarily mean the bull run is over, but it might need to consolidate before trying to push higher again.
So it's a wait-and-see situation at that point. Okay, we've talked about the technicals, but it's important to remember that price action doesn't happen in isolation. What's the overall market context looking like in this March 2025 scenario?
You're right. We can't just look at XRP on its own. We need to consider the sentiment in the crypto market overall and the macroeconomic environment as well.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit then. What's Bitcoin, the big daddy of crypto, doing in this hypothetical future?
In this scenario, Bitcoin is sitting pretty above $100,000.
Wow.
And here's the thing. Bitcoin and XRP tend to move together. They have a pretty strong positive correlation. So when Bitcoin is doing well, XRP usually benefits too.
So a rising Bitcoin tide could lift the XRP boat as well. What about other macroeconomic factors? Anything else on the horizon that could impact XRP's price?
This analysis points to low interest rates as a potential tailwind. In this 2025 scenario, interest rates are still pretty low, which usually favors riskier assets like cryptocurrencies.
It's that classic search for yield thing, where investors are willing to take on more risk to try to get higher returns. So, a strong Bitcoin market and low interest rates create a favorable environment for XRP. But are there any specific events or developments that could really shake things up? Like those black swan events we always hear about.
Well, this analysis throws in a couple of interesting what-if scenarios.
Okay.
Imagine this. Binance, one of the biggest crypto exchanges, announces that they're replacing Tether USDT with Ripple's own stablecoin, RLUSD.
Whoa, that would be a major endorsement for Ripple and their stablecoin. A real power move.
Yeah.
What's the other scenario?
Imagine former President Trump makes a comeback in 2024. And in a surprising move, he decides to include XRP in a U.S. strategic crypto reserve.
Okay, that was definitely unexpected. But hey, this is crypto. Anything's possible. How would these hypothetical events impact XRP's price and adoption?
Well, if these events actually happen, they could really boost institutional interest in XRP. Imagine major exchanges adopting RLUSD and the U.S. government recognizing XRP as a strategic asset. That would send a strong signal to those big institutional investors who might have been hesitant before.
Like a domino effect, building confidence and maybe even triggering a surge in demand. But what about the everyday investor, the average person? What's the general sentiment towards XRP in this 2025 scenario? Are people excited, skeptical, or somewhere in between?
Let's check the social media pulse. According to this analysis, sentiment on X, formerly Twitter, is generally positive, with about 60% to 70% of the commentary being optimistic about XRP's future.
So, a cautiously optimistic outlook. What are people actually saying? What's driving that optimism?
There's a mix of opinions, as always.
Right.
Some folks are predicting, maybe a bit too enthusiastically, that XRP will hit $100 in 2025. Others are more focused on the potential of the XRPL's expanded functionality with smart contracts. But there's definitely a sense of excitement about what the future might hold.
It's fascinating to see how sentiment evolves alongside the technology and the market. But let's get back down to earth for a minute. We've talked about all these potential scenarios, but what does it all mean for our listeners and their investment decisions?
That's the big question, isn't it? We've explored the fundamentals, the technicals, the market context, and the sentiment. Now let's translate all of that into some practical investment strategies. This analysis outlines a few approaches based on this hypothetical 2025 scenario.
Perfect. Let's break those down. What's the first approach?
The first one is a classic, HODL, which stands for Hold On for Dear Life. It's a long-term strategy where you buy XRP at its current price, $2.52, and hold it for a longer period, maybe 2 to 3 years.
Oh, yeah, the HODLers.
The idea is to ride out the volatility and benefit from the potential growth in adoption and utility over time.
So it's about believing in the long-term vision and being patient. What kind of returns could someone potentially see with this approach?
Well, if adoption grows like they're projecting, this analysis suggests that a HODL investment made at $2.52 could potentially bring in returns of $5 to $10 per XRP within 2 to 3 years.
That's a pretty attractive potential return, especially for those who get in early. But of course, we have to acknowledge the risks. There's no guarantee that XRP will hit those price targets.
Right. You always have to remember that this is just a projection based on a made-up scenario. The crypto market is known for being volatile, and what happened in the past doesn't guarantee what will happen in the future.
Right, it's always important to emphasize that. Now, what about those who are a little more adventurous? Are there any short-term trading strategies that might work for XRP in this scenario?
Absolutely. For those who are more comfortable riding those short-term price waves, there are a couple of things to consider. One strategy is to buy XRP at its current price, $2.52, and try to sell it between $2.80 and 50 cents if those resistance levels get broken.
Buy low, sell high, the classic trader's motto. But this requires paying close attention to the charts, right? Watching those price movements and volume changes.
Exactly. Short-term trading is all about timing and managing risk. It's not for everyone, but it can be profitable for those who are good at reading those technical signals.
So we have two main approaches. Long-term holding for those who believe in the fundamentals, and short-term trading for those who are a bit more agile and comfortable with risk. But let's get real. What if someone doesn't have a ton of money to invest? Can they still get involved?
Absolutely. This analysis has a good example for those who are working with a limited budget. Let's say you've got $1,000 to invest every month, and you're aiming to accumulate $10,000 worth of XRP over 2 years.
It's a pretty common situation. A lot of people are looking for ways to invest consistently, even if they don't have huge sums of money. How would that work with an XRP investment strategy?
Well, with XRP currently at $2.52, you could invest about $472 per month to hit your target. It's like a disciplined savings plan, but instead of putting your money in a regular savings account, you're building up your XRP holdings bit by bit.
So it's like dollar cost averaging, spreading out your investment over time to reduce the impact of volatility. But what are the potential outcomes? What could this investment look like in 2 years, assuming we're still in this March 2025 scenario?
Let's look at two contrasting possibilities. If XRP goes up to $5 in those 2 years,
Okay.
your investment could be worth somewhere around $19,800. That's a really nice gain, and it shows how powerful consistent investing can be, even with smaller amounts.
That's a compelling argument for getting started early and sticking with it. But there's always the other side of the coin. What if XRP goes down instead of up?
Let's say, hypothetically, XRP drops to $1.50.
Okay.
Your investment would be worth about $5,940. It's still a positive return since you invested $10,000 over 2 years, but it does show how important it is to understand and manage risk.
It's a good reminder that there are no sure things in the crypto world, and you should only invest what you're comfortable losing. Okay, we've talked a lot about XRP, the fundamentals, the technical outlook, the market context, and potential investment strategies. But how does it stack up against other cryptocurrencies, like the ever-popular Ethereum?
That's the question, right? It's like trying to compare apples and oranges, or maybe a cheetah and an octopus. Both amazing in their own way, but designed for totally different things.
I like that analogy. It really highlights how different cryptocurrencies have different purposes and appeal to different types of investors.
Exactly. So let's break it down. What makes XRP stand out compared to Ethereum?
Well, XRP's strengths are speed, scalability, and low transaction costs. It's built to handle a ton of transactions, which makes it super efficient for payments and things that need fast settlement.
So if I'm sending money overseas or maybe buying a coffee with crypto, XRP would be the better choice.
It could be, yeah. It's about using the right tool for the job. Okay, speed and efficiency, I get it. But what about those downsides we discussed earlier? How do those compare to Ethereum's weaknesses?
One thing people point out about XRP is its centralization. Unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are more decentralized, XRP is mostly controlled by Ripple Labs.
I can see how that might not sit well with some crypto enthusiasts.
Yep.
Decentralization is a big deal for a lot of folks in this space. How does Ethereum compare in that regard?
Ethereum is generally considered to be more decentralized than XRP, but it has its own issues. Scalability is a big one. As Ethereum has grown, it's run into problems with congestion and high transaction fees, especially when there's a lot of activity.
So like a traffic jam on the blockchain. Everyone wants to use it, but it gets slow and expensive. Are there any solutions in sight?
The Ethereum community is working on solutions like switching to a proof-of-stake system, which should make it more efficient. They're also looking at layer 2 scaling solutions, which basically create separate pathways to handle transactions, taking the load off the main blockchain.
So Ethereum is evolving to try to overcome these challenges. It shows how this whole space is constantly innovating and adapting. But let's get back to the investor's point of view. Besides the tech stuff, what else should someone think about when choosing between XRP and Ethereum?
The teams behind these projects matter. Look at their track records, the partnerships, and the community support. Those things can really influence a cryptocurrency's long-term success.
It's like investing in any company. You want a strong team, a solid plan, and a loyal customer base. How do XRP and Ethereum measure up in those areas?
Both XRP and Ethereum have strong teams and passionate communities. Ripple Labs, the company behind XRP, has been actively forming partnerships with financial institutions, while Ethereum has a really active developer community that's constantly building new applications and expanding the ecosystem.
It seems like both have their pros and cons, and the best choice for an investor depends on their individual goals, how much risk they're willing to take, and their overall investment philosophy.
Exactly. There's no right answer for everyone. It's about finding the cryptocurrency that fits your needs and beliefs.
This has been a fantastic deep dive into XRP and what its future might hold. We've explored the fundamentals, the technical outlook, the market context, and even compared it to Ethereum. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
The world of cryptocurrency is constantly changing. What looks like a sure bet today could be completely different tomorrow. So stay informed, do your own research, and always keep learning. We've given you a glimpse into XRP's potential, but your journey of discovery is just starting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a really exciting time to be a part of this space, and I'm eager to see what happens next.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into XRP. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep riding those crypto waves.